right, so what up, guys? This is Taylor. I'm coming to you with another episode of Launchpad with Moon Landing. Today, I have a very special guest. It is going to be our a big Chicago-based bass artist, Stratus. So, Stratus, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How you guys
Awesome.
doing?
Doing good. All right. I know we
Yeah,
were just kind of chatting a little bit. So, you are from Chicago. You're born and
yeah,
raised. Um,
born and raised.
So one thing that, we didn't really get to touch on before we started talking is how would you say the bass scene has changed, maybe even in Chicago or since you've come onto the scene?
It's, I guess, as it gained more and more traction, you kind of saw it like splinter into all these different subsets that were like warring with each other for a while, and people were like, in order, it was like trap is dead, now dubstep is dead, now moombahton is dead, and it's like all these things. Everyone tried to kind of focus on whatever next big thing there was, and right now it feels like everything can coexist very peacefully. And as long as people are making cool, exciting shit, it's being welcomed.
Yeah.
That's nice to see.
So you aren't a part of the whole rhythm versus dubstep war, or would
No,
you say you feed into that a little bit?
no, not at all. I dip my toes into every style I possibly can too. So I would be contradicting myself if I was trying to say one thing was dead or better than the other or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. So yeah, so kind of going off of I think this is the perfect time for us to chat because you just released a recent EP, and Gob Slab was amazing. Just for the record, I have been listening to that like nonstop on my SoundCloud. So could you
Oh
kind of
yeah.
tell us a
Thank
little bit
you.
about what went into producing it, like what your inspiration for that EP was?
Yeah, it was. I I tend to like just kind of keep a a folder of stuff that I think is ready to release, and then almost every single time I abandon all that and then hastily make a few tracks that all kind of beautifully come together, and then that's the true sign of when things are ready to be released. I tried to kind of incorporate all the old styles that I like and mix it with the newer ones, and it ends up never really sounding like that at all, which is probably a good sign. But this one, this is my fourth release with SubCarbon, and I just at the least try to kind of outdo the last one.
Yeah.
And
So
I
so
hope
with
this one covered that.
yeah, absolutely. And I love
Yeah.
that you kind of touched on that. You, instead of keeping everything separate, all your projects, you really try to build on them and kind of adapt as your music, maybe your style changes too.
Definitely.
So with SubCarbon, how did you start working with, and for those that don't know, SubCarbon is Ganja White Night's label. So how did you start working with the guys, the boys?
Yeah, I mean, them and their whole team are the best, and it's been very cool to kind of grow and work with them the last few years. I think I just had a batch. This was in like 2019, probably. I had a batch of some new stuff, and we were kind of trying to shop it around to labels. My manager suggested SubCarbon. I never really thought that my stuff would fit there, so I sent him a grip of some random whips, and they picked the last one that I kind of just tossed in there without thinking much of it, for a free release. And
Oh,
then I
okay.
kind of more and more started talking to Ben, from Ganja, about putting an EP together. And then it kind of all just came together and did a lot of shows, and it's been cool. Those guys are the best.
That sounds so cool. And so would you
Yeah.
say that song that they did end up kind of picking out, was it maybe the more wubby of your tracks that you
It
had or
was
like the
exactly
wop?
that.
Yeah.
I think the rest of them were pretty like kind of choppy bro step type of stuff, and then this was the one that I threw in last minute because like this is the most likely to kind of feel like that.
Yeah.
And I kind of started like earlier on, like because that first iteration of Tear Out that the UK guys were doing, like kind of the Bruscos and the Caspas, that was my biggest inspiration. That a little more aggressive, but still kind of LFO-y.
Yeah.
So I've been making that sound forever, but at that point in time, that was the most wubby that I had. But
Yeah.
I'm glad they dug it.
That's awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah.
So you've gone on tour with them before. You
Mm.
know, now that you've been in the scene for a little while, I wonder, like, if you could go back in time, is there anything you would have taught younger producer you, or early producer you, or like some lessons you've learned over the years too?
Yeah. A big one is I wish I was a little more focused on and proud of accomplishments and good things that did happen. I kind of immediately was like, fine, on to the next, but kind of allowing myself to be a little bit proud for the cool stuff, I think is valuable for just your well-being when you're doing this. And I was a little kind of caught up in my own bullshit at the time, but yeah, I think just kind of pull back and appreciate all of this every now and then. I'll tell myself that for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's a great thing to, just recognize the small accomplishments, and I mean, that's a great way to, I feel like for up and comer producers like coming into the scene
Yeah,
too, that's a good thing to kind of take to
yeah,
heart as well.
definitely.
So to pivot a little bit, do you have any shows coming up that you're like really stoked about? Or I know with this new EP, are you excited to like kind of show it off a little bit?
Yeah, I've been kind of playing all but I think one of them for like a little while now in some kind of variation.
Mhm.
So that's the main one I'm excited to like test out in a live setting.
Yeah.
But I have a show tomorrow at a sound bar in Chicago with Dirt Monkey.
Oh,
That's
cool.
kind of the
Yeah.
first true test for this new one.
Yeah. I mean,
And
I
that's a
think
great club.
so I haven't, you were just telling me about it. That just sounds like, so you've been playing at this club for a while, right? Or this is one of your favorites over the years?
I no sound bar I've done once. My friend Computer was playing there and we did a random back to back. But I don't think I've ever played like a proper set there. I've been there a few times to support people and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's one of those just kind of nice, dark, low ceiling, good system type of spots.
I
I'm
love those
excited
types
to
of spots. That we
get
have a
back in.
few out here in Arizona that maybe we'll, you have
Oh
to
yeah,
try. We have a few of those types of
down.
just clubs. Yeah. You have to come out here. It's a little
Uh,
hot, probably a little hotter than Chicago though.
yeah, no, yeah. I specifically I can't exist in the desert in peak summer, so I'll wait a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm
Actually,
down.
Dirt Monkey I saw there one time, and there was literally condensation coming from the rafters that he pointed out because it was just
Yeah,
so hot and muggy, but we loved it.
it adds to the vibe.
Yeah,
It's
it
still
does.
fun. Yeah.
Okay. So for you, like, you said you've supported some friends and stuff. Do you have any dream back-to-backs that would like to partake in, or is there anyone that you'd love to collaborate with?
I mean the cliche and the pipe dream is Skrillex, but that's almost like a silly answer. I've had the pleasure of going back to back with a good amount of my friends that I really admire and other people that I look up to. Um, I think Ganja would be kind of the ultimate collab right now. I just the way they produce is so full and dynamic, and they just I don't know. There's something about it that's really compelling to try to work off of. I think that'd be fun.
Oh, that would be
And then
so cool. Yeah.
yeah, Jansen's a big one too. I mean, he's from back in the day. He's a friend now, but I always kind of he was always a production style that I looked at and kind of wanted to emulate, and I do. I told him to his face, I copy him a lot. That's I
Well,
think
yeah.
a lot of these guys do. He's the man.
That's definitely, I feel, what is it? Imitation is the strongest form of flattery. So, I mean, I feel like even just
Yeah,
like, going off of his style, I mean, I've seen Jansen many times too, and his production is sick. And I think yours is also amazing and very unique too. So that's super
right.
cool. So you have this is it Wobbleween that's coming up, or is that,
Yeah,
yeah. And
I
so
forgot about that. Yeah, that's in a couple months.
where is that located at?
It's in the Armory in Minnesota,
Okay.
Minneapolis. And I played the one last year, and I think that venue's kind of new, but it's beautiful. It's crazy. I think it's an old hangar, and they used to store like military aircraft there.
Oh, no
So it's
way.
just this
Okay.
big, open, just banger of a venue. It's very
Wow.
sick.
Yeah,
So I'm excited to go back if you can't tell.
yeah, sounds awesome. That sounds like a great way to spend, like Halloween. I think
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure like Excision has done some of his like Thunderdome, not Thunderdome, but he's done shows there too, like huge
Yeah.
production. Yeah.
It's called, I think he like brands it as something too, maybe
Yeah.
like the Thunderdome-esque, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of perfect for those type of events where it's just like a massive lineup. You can kind of weave in and out of the maze of the venue
Oh,
for a while. So it's kind of it's a very cool spot.
that sounds really cool. Okay, well, good
Yeah.
luck on that. That sounds awesome.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just curious, when you are not producing, when you're not, traveling around for shows, what do you like to do in your free time? What do you enjoy doing just to kind of balance out music and the rest of your life as well?
Yeah. In the summertime in Chicago, I try to embrace it as much as possible, and I kind of just wander around and find new spots and kind of go along the lake with my wife and dog and stuff, and then just admire the city as much as I'm a fucking dork for Chicago. I'm very romantic about it, but I still love just kind of existing in it and kind of getting some time with family and friends if I can. And then it gets cold and shitty, and then I kind of play video games, and
Pull
music
up a
takes
little
up
bit.
most of my time, to be honest. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
What's your dog's name?
Duncan.
Duncan, very cute.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
Do you have a picture? Let's see.
On the background.
Oh, Duncan. Oh, he's so cute.
Yeah, he's a ridiculous creature. He's fun.
Oh, that's awesome. So coming up for next year, do you have anything you're like really looking forward to? Any goals you've set for yourself?
Yeah, I'd like to we're trying to set up like a small market headline type of thing. I want to get on some more support dates with other guys that I admire. I music wise, I mean I have tons of dance stuff lined up, kind of ready to go at all times. Kind of just wing it and release it independently most of the time, except for SubCarbon and some other labels. But I try to follow my kind of natural output, meaning that like whatever kind of comes out naturally is what I try to follow because it sort of yields the best results. And I've been working on an orchestral album that I would like to kind of gear towards kind of movie or TV scoring. But
Wow, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's all kind of like swirling around in my head right now. So I got to sort of figure out where it all lands.
Just
But
get the pen to paper. And actually,
yeah,
it's funny that you mentioned the orchestral piece, because when I'd been doing some digging just on your background a little bit, it had listed you as a multi-instrumental what
yeah.
instrumentalist turned producer. So what instruments do you play, or what have you played over the years?
Yeah, well, that's not untrue, but that was my earlier self thinking it sounded cool in my bios.
Okay.
But no, so I grew up playing piano, guitar, and then drums. There was a alto sax stint in like middle school, and then I did jazz and classical guitar all through high school. And then once I realized I could be kind of every member of the band in Ableton, it was much more appealing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But still more than most people can say. I think all I had was a recorder to really like say on
Dude,
check off my
recorder
instruments.
banks.
Yeah.
Recorder banks. You gotta start with something.
Yeah, just just something small.
Yeah.
All right. And are there any like hidden talents or passions that you have that people wouldn't know about you, like if they were to do some research on you?
I've invested most of my energy into all this now, but I've always kind of really liked being in the mountains and skiing in my whole life. So that's kind of if I'm second best at anything, that's probably it. Or like, in the stuff that I'm good at, that's probably right under music, I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I really
Yeah.
appreciate you talking with us and kind of, getting into the inner workings of, your music and everything. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you taking the time. Is there anything you want to say to our listeners or watchers just to finish off the interview?
Yeah, support local artists, support cool shit. That's it. And then just do that over and over again. And everyone has a good time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. All right.